Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where and what time you're watching this show from. My name is Denise Belisle, and I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. Let's welcome you to the It's All Good. Lucas here for a chat. And today I have the honor to have Cordelia Gaffar, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about her later. She's an executive transformation coach. But before we go there, I have my cat that has an asthma attack right now. Are you okay? He doesn't have asthma, but he's breathing funny. Okay. Live, things live on show, right? He's okay, I think. And but welcome. And the reason I call this show "It's All Good" is more, first of all, because it's my cup. It's called "It's All Good." It's all good on it. And also, I was thinking of how to call this show, and then I was drinking my hot water in the morning, and then I was like, oh, it's all good. I could call it "It's All Good." I like "It's All Good." And then, but I got to think a little bit further than just the words on the cup. And I was like, yeah, this is a way of living that I have been having for a long time. I, whether things happen in the past, whether it's 2 seconds ago, 2 minutes ago, or 5 years ago, I can't change it. So all I can say is right now, it's all good. And I always look for the gift into situation. So I had somebody that I met last weekend, and she was saying her husband used to say kind of the same thing. It's all good. And he said, our job is to find what's good in it. So there's always something good in every situation. So our job is to find what's good in all the situation. And things in the future also, we can't really control the future. We can't predict the future. Even though I had a crystal ball and say, tell me my future, it's not possible. You can plan, you can organize, you can do everything you can, but sometimes there's just something that's going to get in the way, that's going to make you challenged, so that you got to work around what you had planned. And what happened then, it's then in the past, and you'd say, hey, it's all good. So it's always go back to, you can't change thing, whether it's the future or the past. Live the present, have a great time, have fun, and it's all good. I also encourage you to like my YouTube channel, which this will be posted, and it's subscribe at denisebelil.com. And if you would like to be on this show, or if you would like to have a conversation with me, you can book a time with me at tiny.cc/talk with Denise. So without, now let's welcome our guest, Cordelia Gaffar. And without any further delay, here she is. Welcome, Cordelia. I'm so happy to have you here with me on this show. Welcome.
Thank you, Denise. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's
Thank
all
you.
good.
It's all good. Yes. Initially, Cordelia interviewed me last fall, I think, right? Or January? Was it in January or last fall? I can't
It was
remember.
just January. How crazy is
Just
that?
January,
Just
I
not,
know, just a few months
yeah.
ago. And then I say, hey, let me interview you too. So let's welcome you, and please tell us what you do and who you are, and what's an executive transformation coach, and tell me a little bit about you, and then I'm just gonna be listening to you.
Yeah, thank you for that. All these titles, what do they mean, Like my other one is the ultimate joy goddess. Like, what is that about? It's kind of the same as it's all good, right?
Yeah.
So, I basically help people to create sustainable systems of self-nurturing for their ultimate joy. And most of those people happen to be like executives, and they get that transformation. Some of them are community leaders, and some of them are change agents in the
Change
world.
maker, yeah.
Yeah, but mostly they're really high achieving people that are out of the box thinkers,
Mm.
kind of like me. So, like, I've
Yeah.
written 8 books, 4 of them are bestsellers. I have 2 podcasts, and I've won 2 awards for the Free to Be show, which is the one you're on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have a whole bunch of other awards. But the one thing I didn't get an award for, Denise, having 6 children. you know? And I homeschooled them for 18 years. Where's the award for that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know
is
it's
there a
very
mom?
lack of gratitude for mothers, that's for sure, for parents and mothers especially, because mothers, whether man you like it or not, unless you're super special, we can go without you.
Pretty much, give me a little petri dish and I can but I didn't do that. I actually was married.
Yes, you did have somebody there with you for
Yeah.
sure. At that time, you had 7 children. Now you only have 6.
Yeah, now I only have 6. So, yeah, that's who I am in a nutshell.
And
Um,
where are you located?
oh, I'm in Washington, DC.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. And so when you say you work with executive and people that have important position in their life and in their company, and so and then I imagine for them, I mean, they want to really get to the next level, right? When these people hire a coach, it's like, okay, I'm here now, I've done all that, so how do I get there? And how so they want to be perhaps like better leaders, they want to be better executor, like being able to execute better and take bigger decision. So how would you feel? What are the quality of a successful leader, a successful executive?
Well,
So
yeah, first of all, they don't necessarily want to get anywhere. A lot of them, it's not like a destination. It's more of a seeking for harmony and, being more present is really what they're seeking, the people I work with.
okay.
And that's the transformation they make, and that is actually what you should be seeking if you're going to be any kind of leader,
Hmm.
because it's who you are within, it's that depth, it's the inward alignment, that I usually talk about the 4 minds, right? So, once you're aligned, not just in your mind and your heart, but also in your depth, in your spirit, in your divinity, and you can, be present with people. That's really, those are the top qualities of leaders.
Hmm. Okay. And so what are the result that they can expect after working with you? What are they, you mentioned it briefly, but what are they seeking for? What can they expect? Like have more peace in their life, be more centered into making their decisions? Like what can
I'll
they
I'll I'll just tell you a story. So, like, one of the women I'm working with, right? She's an executive, and when we first started working together, she had peace, she had a meditation practice and all
Mm-hmm.
those normal self-care things, right?
Yeah.
But what she didn't have was a real depth of, belief in her expertise. So she'd show up and, just be there physically, but not be in her depth because the words coming through her head were more about, um, well, if I speak up now, then I may be perceived as too aggressive, or if I wait too long, then they may not even consider what I'm saying. Or, so those were, and this is something I find pretty common with female executives, it's just like they have to, they're doing that.
Tug of war kind of thing.
Yeah, the toggle of, am I too feminine or am I too masculine? Am I gonna, men don't think about all that. They're just like, I I hear what you're saying, and this is what I think, this is my opinion on that. Here's my feedback, right? So now, instead of her doing all that mental gymnastics, now she listens and she, gives her feedback. And it's just in such a presence and depth that not that her expertise was ever mistaken, but it's just like people wait to hear what she has to say. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like she doesn't feel invisible in the room anymore. That people talk about women not having a seat at the table, it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with them being women. It has to do with their lack of them giving up the mental gymnastics, really. So
Hmm.
that's what I help people with, and that's the result. So whatever that is for you.
Yeah, 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 for
Yeah.
sure. So I imagine by you being able to do that for your clients, like what are some of your own practice to help you center yourself? So how have you been working on yourself in order to be able to bring it to others?
Yeah, of course. This was born out of my own practice because when I left corporate America, I guess about 19 years ago, I was a CFO myself, and I'm so familiar with the mental gymnastics. I'm also familiar with being judged for being aggressive or whatever. And so I started with that, being kind to myself. I have
Mhm.
something I call sweet talk. So my 5 self-nurturing tips that are in my last book, Detached Love, Transforming Your Heart so that you can transform your mind, right? This book, there's a chapter in there that goes over the 5 self-nurturing practices, and the first one is sleep. I know, right? A mom of 6 recommending sleep. And and that's what makes me a successful leader in my household, because I can think straight because I sleep well.
Mhm.
And so there's like a whole section on how to create a, sleep routine and sleep hygiene. And the second thing, like I just said, when you sleep well, then you think differently, you know? So it's a practice of waking up in the morning, and I don't actually have to think about it anymore. It used to be 19 years ago, it was just like, what are you grateful for this morning? Right. But now it's kind of like, I woke up, I'm awake, I'm alive. You know what I mean? It's like, and then I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm grateful for that. And breath, and then, and most importantly, I have a background in nutrition. So, one of the things I didn't mention, and I don't really bring it up that often, but there's like a whole lot of literature out there, and I've mentioned it in a couple of my books, that I healed myself from postpartum depression. So
Mhm.
that was, one of the reasons that I left corporate, because I had, with my second child, postpartum depression. I had miscarriages in between the first two. You know what I mean? It's like a physical
It's
stress.
difficult, yeah.
Yeah. So eating, right? Food is the third self-nurturing practice, knowing how to, tune into your body so that you can feed it what it requires, and so that you'll be set for the energy in your day. And of course,
Mhm.
movement, right? That's the fourth practice. So I have a variety of different movements. Yes, I have a workout, but there's nothing like dance that, it really helps a full body alignment. So when I talk about that four mind alignment, I've already covered actually all of them. Well, not quite, one more. But anyway, so, when you move, we know that it gives you more dopamine, and and also I would dare say the movements that I do, because I move my hips a lot, right? That even it increases self-love, right? So that's
Mhm.
oxytocin. That's a whole different hormone. So and then the fifth practice that I have is your emotions, right? So once you sleep well, you're thinking better and saying better things to yourself. You know how to energize your body and eat for your brain, right? Then you're moving your body, not just like one time a day. My in my book, Workout Around My Day, the only health guide that moms need, it actually helps you map out how you can exercise 5 times a day, and how to eat in that way. And so, and I have a journal that goes with this book too. And so then of course your emotions, I've mentioned some of the hormones here and there, then your emotions are on a whole different level, like, as in, you don't mind dealing with them, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the biggest suppression we do in life, is we don't acknowledge our emotions, we don't give them the reverence they require, and we don't use them as an intelligence, and that's what they are. Your emotions are literally downloads from the divine so that you are aware of certain things that are happening. It's just
Mm-hmm.
data, but we shame it and judge it. And oh my God, I have an emotion. It's like, of course you do. You are human,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah. Or we stay in that negative emotion for a long period of time, and all we can see is the black cloud over our head of that negative emotion, which doesn't support us in any way.
at all.
No,
Yeah.
no. So these are great 5 steps. So sleep, think better about yourself, like gratitude and all, eating the right food, doing some movement, not just going to the bathroom and coming back, like really moving your body and moving
Yes.
that energy, and then dealing with your emotion. These are great 5 steps. But then about emotion, how do you acknowledge undesired emotion, like within yourself, like when these emotions are showing up, like when dealing with others, like you're in front of someone and then something come up. So how do you acknowledge that, and how do you deal with that?
So there is a really great process called nonviolent communication
Hmm.
where you connect with the other person, right, by observing, and then you this is where you connect with your emotions. You feel, this makes me feel, and then that brings awareness to what it is that you need, right? So then you can make a request, and then you take action. So it's like, was observe, feel, need, and then action, right? So that's how you deal with it. That's the formula.
Hmm. and what I appreciate that, because what I often tell people is like speak in the I, right? Because too often we tend to point the finger. You make me feel this way. And then you give all your power away to other people, right? You tell people like you
Not
make
only
me feel
that,
like.
you're not acknowledging your part of that. We all
Yeah,
have
exactly,
responsibility in every
exactly.
interaction, right? So it's just like, when this happens, or when you do, when you turn to the left, it makes me feel
Yeah,
like you're not listening to me,
yeah,
right? And so, and it makes me realize how much I need to feel like I'm being listened to.
yeah,
Would you be willing to turn to the right when you're talking to me? So that's how it goes. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Acknowledging the situation and then talking about your own feeling, for sure, makes a huge difference in communication. People have healed a lot of trauma using that technique.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so tell me, you say you write several books. So tell me about those books, and what brought you to write them.
Yeah, I started writing all books for the same reason. Being a mom, I just have to do lots of research. So, let's see, when I was pregnant with my fifth child, because I had so much more time on my hands, I started a blog, and it was called Living in Harmony Motherhood, because I was freaking out that I was going from 4 to 5 kids. And so I wanted to be publicly accountable to myself that I could actually do this.
Hmm.
So that blog was my long version of sweet talk and mental vomit of all the stuff I was researching so I could really hang in there? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there's a
so
lot happening when you have 4 kids.
oh my
Never
goodness,
mind
yeah.
six.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
5 kids now, and
I
six.
was going up to 5, yeah, and so I was, like, running Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops, and starting co-ops because this one likes Legos and that one likes geography, you know what I mean? And then I taught a class here or there. It was a lot, right? And so I just woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and took an hour and wrote every day. And after 5 years, I was like, oh, let's see if this is a book. And so that's how the first book came out. And I published that when my sixth child was born.
Mm.
And because I have way more time, and then I wrote 3 more books the next 2 years. So one is, actually, my first book was called The Guide: How to Get Started with Workout Around My Day, which was intended to be a guide, right? And I did workshops at local mosque. The second book was, there's a book that I actually haven't published that I've written. It was all about preparing for pregnancy and how to eat for preconception and all that stuff because I had 4 home births. But then the second book that came out was Ramadan Food Hacks because in 2017, Ramadan was a 20-hour fast in July, which is for the northern hemisphere that's a lot of hours to go on a dry fast. So there's that book, and then after coaching for a couple of years, I upgraded the Workout Around My Day book to be Workout Around My Day, the only health guide that moms need. And then I wrote a chapter in like 4 other books. One of the books was a project that I put together called Begin with the Breath. And
Hmm.
so I compiled that and wrote one of the chapters. And then I've written forewords for some other people's books. And then I wrote this book. And currently I'm working on 2 more. One's a book of poetry and one's about my 4 mind alignment. So, yeah.
And what are the four minds alignment?
Oh, so the 4 minds are your brain, your heart, your stomach, and your sacred space, or, yoni for women, lingam for men. And these are Sanskrit words meaning sacred space and wand of light.
Star Trek
Yeah.
fans, Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And tell me about the certification you're doing right now for Tantra.
Oh, yeah. So last year, like on the heels of my divorce, I just wanted to repair and heal parts of me, right? And so it started out by just joining a really short, like 90-day Tantra class. And so I got so much benefit from that. I learned a lot about, you're married for 20 years and you're just like, I don't have sexual trauma. But like all those nights that I didn't want to have sex and I said yes, right? Or
Mhm.
all those times that, I mean, not necessarily, well, I mean, I've done that. And, I'm sure plenty of women just kind of are like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, let's get it over with, right? I heard
Right.
that.
But it's like not presencing my own desire.
Yeah.
It's not not giving consent. And, it's just a form of personal sexual deprivation, and sensual, like you're not allowing any sensuality or pleasure or anything. And so I wanted to look at those parts of me. And so I joined the Authentic Tibetan Tantra program to become a certified practitioner. And now the
Oh.
program is going to give me a master's in holistic sexual healing. So that's why, my Replenish Me process upgraded from just those 5 practices to incorporate. Let's make sure that not only we're doing these 5 practices, but with 4 mind alignment. Are you moving your yoni? So are you just doing regular masculine exercises? Or are you doing belly dancing and,
Mhm.
some kind of sensual dance, moving that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. And so once you graduated and all, so what would that bring you? You'll be able to lead those workshops, for example, the one you did for 90 days, and
Yeah, so I will, like, now I can talk about 4 mind alignment and kind of keep that on the lighter, uh, side, but by, the end of this year when I have my proper certification, oh, the places you will go in your yoni. Yeah, so
well, I think that's fantastic because I agree with you with that my friends and the people I know and especially like people that women that are hitting their postmenopause and all that, like the hormone change, the energy change, the desires change, and but men, they're not like that, right? 50, they're like, I'm
well, I gotta just say this,
all of
okay?
it.
So, first of all, women have much higher libido than men in the first place, which is why there's all this shaming built into the, normalized and built into the patriarchy because they, are
You
just
gotta put a
ashamed that,
leash on that woman.
yeah, they can't hang. Like if women were really being themselves, phew, Yeah. The
or if they
whole
were being honest, because when they talk there, if I don't have the numbers because it just came up, but I remember looking at numbers of how many affairs do couple have, like, and the number of men cheating were much higher than women. But the difference between men and women is women, they just don't talk about it. Right?
yeah. Yeah.
Because who are these married men cheating with? You know,
Sometimes married women. Yeah.
sometimes married women,
That happens.
and married women, they sometimes cheat with young unmarried men. And I agree with you. Like, I've known, a lot of people around me, women. I won't name name because I don't want to cause, they already divorced anyway, but for most part of it. But I've known a lot of women that were cheating when they're cheating. I mean, it's a weird word, but anyway, we know it's just so
They
generalizing. But
were honoring their
they
sexuality.
were honoring their sexuality with other men than the person that was sleeping in their bed, and more than once, over a period of their marriage. And
And so what? I mean, I think it's a great
exactly,
thing. She was doing what she required,
exactly, she
and that's
needed
what it
different type of
is.
attention, and she wanted
Yeah.
to feel, special, because often when you're in a relationship, and you were mentioning it earlier about, I didn't know this conversation was going to go there, but that's okay, we're
Yeah.
open book here. But when you were mentioning, there's time where you said yes, but you didn't really feel like it. But I've done that too, and it's the time where, hey, let's get it let's get it done. Let's
Yeah.
not. I didn't realize we have some comments, so let's see. Girl, how did you keep getting more time with more children? Yeah, and that's Felicia Miller Johnson that says that, and he said, "Yeah, belly dancing is so much fun." So thank you, Felicia, for your comments. Sorry, I missed them,
Mhm.
and but the being able to say no when you want to say no, and being respected, right? Because when a woman is able to say no and is being respected, she might want it more later. Because
Yeah.
the more you force something, regardless of what that is, if you don't like broccoli and somebody give you broccoli and you have to eat it just to keep the broccoli from coming in your mouth, that funny, funny illustration. Anyway,
I would have said something different.
but
Okay.
then you eat the broccoli because it's okay. Then if I eat the damn broccoli, then I'll be okay for a while. But then if you're not offered broccoli, or if you say, no, not today, I don't feel like having broccoli, they maybe 2 days later, you'll say, hey, like, now I feel like broccoli. And then you do. So
Yeah, I mean, or even 2 hours later, it's like, "Give me a minute, let me pull myself together," and then, like, when women really want it, oh my goodness, it's like a whole different thing.
yeah.
So, but, the other part of it, Denise, is sometimes women just don't feel like they get shamed for wanting it,
Hmm.
or,
Hmm.
like, some women don't even know, like, you were saying earlier that when there's a change of life, I mean, some women are juicy into their 50s, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
and
yeah.
some dry out in their 30s,
Yeah.
and that could be, a medical problem, or it could be just they never connected with their bodies deep enough to even know how to activate that. And that's why I mention about the importance of moving your hips, because we have such a sedentary lifestyle, so it is a chore to wanna have sex, right? Because you're not moving your hips anyway.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
if you did? What if you were shaking them all the time? What if you
Makes
just
me want
took
to take belly dancing now. It's like,
Yeah.
I get the
And
wiggle for it.
yeah, like, and that's the other thing, even talking about, like, the shapes of our bodies, nobody is twiggy, right?
Hmm.
Most women have a little bit of a wiggle,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, and it's okay, it's a beautiful thing. So
Yeah, I was talking about it in another call that I do, and we were talking about body size, like people that are heavier and skinnier, and about women feeling that they're not desired or anything like that. And it's like, hey, there's men that love women of all shape, I've seen skinny men with really large women, and they're like my beauty, and they're super in love, right? And I've seen,
Yeah.
like skinny women be with large men. And it's like, oh, I love him so much. So when people think that because they are, we
Then we can
then
have
we can
creamy cheese on
cheese
bread.
and bread and me instead.
Well,
Okay, thank
you
you,
you
Felicia.
opened the door for that one.
Yeah, I know. I love the way you think. Uh, but when we get my mind confused now. But when
Oh, don't get your mind straight. We already away from that.
but when we decide that we want to do something. I forgot my line of thought, but that's okay. That
Oh,
it's
you were talking about body
Oh yeah,
size.
wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when I heard a woman, and most women think like that. Oh well, I'll look for a relationship when I'm skinnier because nobody will love me the way I am. Well, if you don't love you the way you are, nobody will love you.
Yeah.
But I know a large woman, and she's full of it in a sense, like she's full of herself in a good way. She's like, everywhere I go, I have men lining up, and then I have my skinny, beautiful, muscly boyfriend beside me, and say, "No, I'm with him," and then
Yeah.
and then it's just like you have to really honor yourself with loving yourself first, and once you succeed to do that, then you'll attract miracles,
Yeah,
in
you'll
some way.
definitely have a line behind you once you do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because you radiate, you move your little bum, and then like you'll feel more sexy. It all
Yeah.
lined up together, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing, it's like just being comfortable in your own skin, really,
Yeah.
and loving who you are, whether you're looking in the mirror or not, Um, and, I do always talk about moving hips because I like to dance, but, if that's not your thing, if, feeling sexy or looking sexy to you, is having a handbag that matches your outfit, or just
Mhm.
having your hair a certain way or,
Yeah.
whatever colored lipstick you like to wear, whatever that thing is for you, make sure that you're dressing for you, right?
Yeah.
And that you're pleased with you because, you magnetize where you're vibrating from.
Well, that's beautiful. Mic drop. So it's already half an hour that we've been chatting about broccoli and cream cheese, and
And wiggling your
wiggling.
wiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle. So I'm sure people will listen to that and say, I gotta be in touch with Cordelia. So people can reach you by sending you an email.
Yeah, that's quite unusual request, isn't it? You're gonna have to work for it. Send
Yes,
me an
yes.
email
So
at
if you
hello.
want the gift in order to talk with Cordelia, here's the email. So take notes of the email. You can pause this video if you're watching the replay, and it'll be in the show note also. And if you do want to have a conversation with Cordelia, well, just send her an email and share your takeaway from the discussion, and then she'll get back to you. And then I'm sure if she'll might send you a calendar link, and then you can have a consultation with Cordelia and learn more about what she does and how she can help you. I think that would be pretty cool because she's a cool lady to talk to. And you have also workshop that you lead from time to time, and you have classes. How can, like, if people also they would like to work with you, then send her an email, say, hey, I love what you said, I would like to know more, and then they can also inquire
Y-
about working with you, right?
Yeah, I do, quite a few unusual, different things, like once in a while, recently every month I've been doing a virtual for your ultimate joy class, which is now an 8-week intensive. So, yeah, so the next cohort for that's going to start in May.
Hmm.
And yeah, but above and beyond that, I typically work with people one on one, and we do like retreats and stuff like that, as well as just working virtually together. So
Wonderful.
yeah, but yeah, send me an email. I do read them, and I respond to them. So
Here we
yeah,
go. So send an email at hello@cordeliagaffar.com. There you go.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for our listeners. So just stay there, Cordelia. I'll be right back with you. And thank you for listening and I hope laughing with us about our broccoli and cream cheese. And again, I would invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel for all the previous interview that I have done with all my guests. Today was episode, I think, 84. So I have 83 more videos and more out there on my channel. And if you want to have a chat with me, well, just book a call with me at tiny.cc/ talk with Denise. So until next time, have a wonderful week. I'll be back here next Monday. And until then, be kind to one another. Goodbye.